Chapter 1. Scott leaned on his horn and roared through the red light, causing 6 lanes of opposing traffic on Van Ness to lurch forward, then slam to a halt in the same breath. A barrage of blaring car horns trailed after him as he sped down the road. Geary Boulevard inclined sharply on the other side of the intersection. Scott tightened his grip on the wheel and braced for the jarring impact. His Honda sedan bottomed out on the pavement but maintained its speed. With the gas pedal floored, the car closed in on a slow-moving SUV switching lanes. Scott jumped on his horn again. The SUV froze, straddling both lanes and blocking his path. "Idiot!" he snarled, and shouldered his way past the other driver. Traffic was everywhere, but when wasn't it in San Francisco? He weaved between 2 cars, jerked out from behind a Muni bus, and still had a stream of vehicles ahead. His cell phone rang. He snatched it from its holder on the dashboard. "Yes?"
"Scott, where are you?"
Jane squeezed out between sobs.
"You said you'd be here."
Hearing his wife cry split him in two. His own tears welled, but he bottled them for later. He needed to be strong. If he let this overwhelm him, then what good was he to his family?
"I'm nearly there."
His hoarse voice cracked in the middle of his short reply.
"Just hurry."
"I am." He hung up and tossed the phone on the passenger seat next to him. How could his life have changed so irrevocably? Just 20 minutes ago, he'd been living a normal life, a good life. He was a reporter for the San Francisco Independent. He and Jane had a loving marriage, a miracle in this day and age. They owned a house in a good neighborhood in the city, even with its insane real estate prices. It was the perfect place to raise a family, and they had 2 great kids. Had 2 great kids. It had taken only a moment to lose one of his children. Some sick freak had snatched him out from under them. How could that happen? He and Jane took every precaution. They'd entrusted their boys to a good school, the best they could afford with their combined incomes. They'd gone private to prevent this kind of thing from happening. He palmed away the tears clouding his vision and swerved around a UPS truck. He felt the guilt spreading through him, eating away at his spirit. He'd failed his son Sammy. Abduction is a parent's worst fear, but he hadn't wanted to be one of those parents who saw phantoms on every street corner. Putting bars on the windows and deadbolts on the doors didn't keep them out, it kept you in. But that cavalier attitude had led to this. His worst fears had been realized. Someone had taken his son.
"I'm sorry, Sammy."
A new sensation swept away his guilt. Imagination, strong and invincible, assaulted him. He'd always been able to conjure up detailed images from second-hand accounts. That's what made him such a good reporter. He didn't just relay facts. He told stories, living, breathing stories. He turned readers into eyewitnesses, transporting them to the actual locations, inserting them inside the people present at the celebration or the tragedy. Now, that talent turned on him. From the meager facts available, Scott constructed a nightmare. Sammy appeared to him, his smiling face melting into a scream as the abductor dragged him kicking and screaming inside a van. His imagination blinded him with these false but true images. The abduction was true, but the events were not, just images his fear conjured up. He wouldn't know anything until he reached the school. He stabbed down on the gas again and frightened a Prius out of his way. He made it to the school at the cost of a door mirror snapped off against the corner of a Safeway trailer truck. 6 SFPD cars were staked out in front. Was that all his son warranted? 6 patrol cars? Not that these cops were any good now. Talk about closing the stable door after the horse had bolted. Where were these bastards when Sammy was being snatched? He ground to an untidy halt in front of the cop cars, flung open the door, and spilled out onto the asphalt. Let the city tow it, he thought, gathering his lanky frame up and racing toward the school gate. He hadn't gotten 10 feet when his cell rang. He darted back and snatched it off the car seat. He hit the green key on the run. His antics drew the attention of 2 uniformed officers protecting the school's perimeter. Seeing him charging toward the school gates, they moved as a unit to intercept him. Scott put the phone to his ear. "I'm here."